Welcome, guys, to the TechFios show. I am your non-host today, Sahil Akbar. Today, one of our guests will be our host, Banda Bindas, Marvin Das. So I'll let him take over now.
Good evening, first of all. Thank you very much. Those who are joining or will be joining, I welcome them all to this TechFios show. Of course, I am Vandavandas Marvindas, as Sahil just mentioned, who's been your host for several other shows. But today, I got the liberty to be here in the TechFios King's Landing, as we call it, the back end place where we share what TechFios is, our lifestyles, what TechFios can bring to the table, and just a chit chat between some good friends. And I'm blessed to have the company of Adnan, the owner and partner in TechFios.
I just worked.
So he works there. That's the way we want to keep it because we're all drinking coffee, and our lovely coffee you guys make, by the way.
Thank you.
It's in house, and you've got different varieties that you can choose from. So maybe next time, if you're a coffee lover, you can join us as well. But Sahil, whom you already know, if you follow TechFios, then you know him. We have Baz, who's a good friend of mine, a co-worker, I'll say a younger brother now, and Chirag, who's a good childhood buddy. And on the back end, we have a very special person, Shaz, who's taking all the shots while you see us here, and another partner and the owner of TechFios as well, in cooperation with this employee of TechFios. So, how are you guys? Everything good? How's the evening been?
Wonderful, man. The weather's great.
Yeah.
You don't get a chance to just roll down your windows and drive through Dallas. This is the time.
And it's a surprising thing about Dallas that I used to live in London. And I graduated from there. There were three W's that were famous in London, which was women, work, and weather. They can change any time, But when I got to Texas, it was very friendly because here the same thing happens, except the woman stays the same, at time. But the work and your work and weather can change any time, and that's what Texas is known for. Like 2 days ago we were on 40s, and today we hit 80. And there are days in Dallas where surprisingly you'll wake up to 45, and as you get out of work, it's 82. So, Texas brings its own life. But tell me, guys, as TechFios, corporation, and you guys been helping a lot of people achieve their dreams, as I would say, because, working in corporate America is a big dream for everybody, including many of you that are watching. And, what that dream requires is the number one thing is commitment, right? I'd be wrong if I said anything else. That if you really want to achieve something, you got to be committed to it. I'm a radio jockey by the title of profession. I do a morning show on 104.9 FM, Financial Radio, which is in Dallas. But we have listeners globally through our app, and I own a media and marketing company under the banner of Bindas Services. That goes with my title. मेरे उस्ताद ने दिया था एक दिन हम क्रिकेट की कमेंट्री कर रहे थे so suddenly he bursted out with the name Banda Bindas Mardandas, and it rhymed, and that was the day it all tagged in. So my Facebook actually says Banda Bindas Mardandas, and so does my Instagram. But I met Anand through Baz, and it's just been a beautiful union, because to meet people who are willing to make a change or a difference in others' lives. Yes, it's a business because at the end of the day, everybody is working for the betterment of their family, the betterment of everybody else. So I'll start with you, Mark. Why don't you tell the audiences of TechFios who might be new to TechFios today as to what TechFios does and what you guys bring to the table for the new buddies out there?
Well, I'm just gonna reach off your comment, and that is the dream isn't really to work in the corporate world, but the American dream is, let's be honest, is to make money, right?
Absolutely.
And
who doesn't want it?
I think that cheers, yeah.
With the coffee, though.
Yeah.
I wish we were having those whiskey glasses.
Yeah, but that would have worked, right?
It's time to work, so coffee helps out a little bit.
Yeah. So let's be honest, the American dream is to make money, right? And I think, look, I grew up here all my life, and when I was younger, I would never imagine that, hey, I'll be able to make, and look, I grew up pretty poor in America, so I was in America, we were very poor. And, the threshold was, hey, one day I'll make $50,000, $60,000, right? you never dream that you're going to make 120, 130, 140,000 dollars, $150,000 a year, right?
Sure.
That never came across your mind, right?
Mhm.
And I think that is the American dream, you know. And I think a lot of immigrants, especially from the Southeast Asia community, wants to grab that dream, right? So at TechFios, we try, well, not try, we do what we can to help you to get to that place, right? How to fulfill that dream.
Mm.
And that is going from making 10, $20 an hour to making 40, 50, 60, $70 an hour, right? How do we do that? And that's what we do here. We look at roles that we can exploit. And obviously, I can't make you a doctor in 6 months. I can't make you into a lawyer in 6 months. Maybe in India or Bangladesh you could, but not in America, right?
Yeah.
So, what is the executive areas that we can exploit? We can go into and mold you into a viable candidate, right? And that's IT, and mainly it's IT because IT is changing rapidly on a consistent basis. What we did yesterday versus what we're doing today versus what we're going to do tomorrow are vastly different, right? And that's why this is an area that we can exploit, that TechFiles does exploit, and help you not only learn the skill sets to get a job there and to perform in that job, but also mold you into a preferable candidate who can go out there, do interviews, and actually get the job. Because the main thing isn't doing the job. Doing the job is monkey's work, right? You work in the field, right? Our generous photographer does the work, right?
The director on the lot. Yeah.
And the work is monkey's work. Let's be serious. It's nothing fancy, right?
It's not rocket
It's
science.
not rocket
Let's put it
science,
that way.
right?
From this point of yours, with two youngsters sitting here.
Yeah.
Although I'm a youngster myself, I mean, don't get me wrong, but we have another league of the youngsters here who are in their 20s, and I'll ask to you, Sachin, Sahil. So Sahil, I'll ask you. So you're still in college, right? You're still studying, going to school. Now you I overheard a conversation that you changed your major to computer sciences, right? May I ask you why was that switch? And tell us a little about yourself as well. Like what was your background? Why did you choose something else before you chose the IT side of things? Why don't you throw a little light on that?
Well, so little personal information about me. So I am in my second year in college. I'm currently attending Collin College, planning to transfer to University of Texas in Dallas.
Okay.
I've been in Dallas for a year and a half, so I love it here.
Nice.
And yeah, the reason why I changed my major.
No, first tell me what were you doing before you switched to IT?
Okay, so before I switched to IT, I was in finance. I was
Okay.
trying to
Useless
finance.
Okay.
Just letting you. Useless degree.
Yeah, so
college for that.
just like you said, useless degree, right? Just too much work. I mean, it wasn't interesting,
Mhm.
you know. And then once I saw,
It wasn't tickling your brain.
yeah, it
I
wasn't.
understand.
It wasn't. Even though I love numbers, I love that aspect of finance,
Mm.
but it just wasn't my thing.
Mm.
And I looked into IT slash computer science, and it's such a big field. Like there's so many things you can
Ever
do.
changing.
Yes, it's ever changing, and not only that, but it's like technology is the way to go.
Right.
It's advancing.
And
every
that's a
single
smart
day.
youngster. All right. If you guys are out there in your teens and early 20s, he's saying the right thing because if you look at everything around you today, I'm sorry, I'm just butting in a bit, but if you see everything around you today, right? If you look at Walmart, if you look at any of the grocery stores, the earlier mechanism was there was a guy at the cash counter swapping goods for you, putting it in the cart, back in, packaging, done, boom, you're out. Now, you are the one that is acting as the checkout counter cashier, and there are automated bots that are making things happen. Even in restaurants in India, I mean, people that have not been to India, they still consider it to be a third world country, but it's surprising what India has developed in Bangladesh and likewise Nepal and so many places. You actually have robots serving food in even India in many restaurants. And that goes to show that tech is the way to go. I mean, everything around you, your cell phone operates half of your life, from your heartbeat counter to your, finances, to your investments, to your whatever it was that was filed up earlier in cabinets in your homes. Now it's on the palm of your hand, and I think that's only gonna, evolve going further down, where in the future there'll be devices implanted in our eyes, or there'll be glasses where you can just plug into your bank account from your glasses. You could probably throw out a vision of projections, or Excel charts for that matter, to see where you are in your business and your finances. So I think you touched a valid point there, that because everything is going to be driven through the IT backend, right? Even though I'm not saying that employment will die, it'll still be there. But everything that suffices or provides the backend of the infrastructure of an organization or a company or a restaurant or the smallest sector of even a retail store, there is IT backing everything up. So I think a very valid point there, Sahil, that you touched in. And
What to go on your ventures?
yeah, always, and younger guys, I always say one thing, right? You can either spend time running around looking for ways out for yourself, but here's the bottom line: to grow financially, you need money, and there are options in the market. One that can give you $2 on the penny, one that can give you 15 on the penny, and if you are able to make good money, and you can save, then that money can convert into more dollars in terms of investments, in terms of businesses that you want to achieve, or dreams that you want to fulfill. Everything requires money, and if you find the right way to start from the get go. So let's say a lot of people joined IT after the age of 30 or 40, and that's when they realized, well, this was my game. Imagine if you joined at the age of 23 or 24.
Yes, I know. How old are you? 20. So in about 2 years you'll be graduating.
Yes.
Okay. You might be start making big bucks after you graduate now.
That's the
Working
goal.
on TechFios.
That's the goal, man.
So you're already in the game
Let
already.
me ask you, Adnan, for our listeners here, we don't want to get into a boring conversation. We want to keep it interesting for you. I'm just going to come to some factual, right? So, a starter, let's say somebody who's graduated, comes to TechFios, gets trained in one of, let's say there are, tiers of courses. One is a basic, a little step above, complex, because students have capacities.
Yep. Exactly.
Everybody has their capacity of learning. So somebody who was good in engineering, computer sciences, it'll be an easy learning curve for them.
Yep.
But if you're from a different field, it's not that you can't learn. You can learn, but it's just going to be a little
Sure.
longer, or a little uncomfortable process for you, because you don't come from that line of work. But if you are from that line of work, it becomes a little more easier. So that's a hint there, that if you are in college, you plan to go to school, if you put the step in IT, by the time you graduate, you're already familiar with the technologies out there, what's happening in the world, and you can choose wisely. But regardless of that, what I wanted to come to is the basic factor, which is how much money I'm going to make. So, with Anand being ahead of TechFios and being doing this for a while, if somebody was to choose your basic course, or let's say in the terminology of layman, and for a student to understand, what was the easiest course I could get into that didn't require me to be a doctor set mind, or an engineer specific mind brain, or a creative mind brain. If I could act as one of the monkeys, don't get my language wrong,
No,
but if I could
there's
train
nothing wrong with
people
monkey.
to become monkeys and do tick 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 tic tac toe, um, what would the basic and starting salary be for somebody like?
So the term for that is monkey see, monkey do. That's exactly what it is. The instructors are one set of monkey. They come in and they show you what they do at work, and you as a student are another monkey who's learning from the other monkey. So, but no matter who you are, where you come from, we have a program that's designed for you. Okay. So we have programs for more advanced level individuals, people like him, when he's going to graduate, he'll probably go into one of our more advanced courses or programs. versus if
And
you're
that's
somebody
because he's the IT background.
because he's going to graduate with an IT degree, right?
Yeah.
So he has a good familiar
Makes sense.
idea of the world. Versus people who come from we have a lot of accounting
Mhm.
people who did accounting. They hate that job because they got to work 12 hours a day, So they're like, hey, I want a good work-life balance.
Sure.
They always jump into IT. For people like that, right, who doesn't have any IT experience, doesn't understand what IT is, haven't really used computers that much, right? For that, we have a program. It's called QA automation, okay, and it's one of our longest programs. It's 6 months.
Yep.
We don't need to teach that course in 6 months. We get that done in less than 3 months.
Depending on the
Yeah.
capacity of the
But the
learner.
reason we do 6 months
Mhm.
is because it's designed for people. We baby step you throughout the entire process.
And by the time the 6 months are done, they are
You're a
pro.
pro. Yeah. Just literally, what could take us 5 hours to
So
train
so
you
what
on,
so
we
what so
spend
what
15
could a
hours.
what could a starting salary look like?
So if you're the worst of the worst candidate, the worst of the worst candidate, at minimum you're gonna make $80,000.
Oh,
Okay. Our average student makes around 100 to 110,000.
wow. By the way, for
people,
people to know, I think about 28 when I was making $60,000 a year, and that was 5,000 a month. And I thought that was a wonderful salary at that time. But if you're starting off at the age of 23, 24, 22, with an $80,000 salary, just imagine yourself. There's a lot of people in the market, in the world, rather, that want to be at that $80,000 salary a month. And a lot of them achieve it at the age of 40, some of them at 45, some of them at 50. Imagine if you could do that at the age of 23. Where could you be? How would your thought process be, right? Today, when you're at a student level, there is, limited budget that you can live off of. And trust me, I've been a student myself. I graduated from London. I did business administration and I was there for 4 years. And I know the struggles that you guys go through. Now, at that time, that was the year 2004 and 5. I'm talking about 20 years ago. At that time, there was not many options in IT. Luckily, I don't do IT because I'm well versed with what I do, and God's blessed me with different things. But I have a lot of good friends in IT, and maybe um, the reason why we connect and the reason why this conversation is happening is because I can share some of my experiences for you guys to learn from, and these guys can shape up my experiences into you, or you can probably learn a little bit from the aspects of life. So, you know, doing graduation in London, spending my parents' money on the initial gig, and then working there, hara amigo kaam karna padta hai, you've got to work for your money. Um, and just developing from there on and having nobody to guide you was the biggest problem. So I picked up what I could get, and I would not be as successful as you might be at the age of 24 with an $80,000 starting salary. And that is the start of the IT. If you understand where we're coming from, it's just a piece of the pie. And if I may ask you, Adnan, is QA it, or a person who has the urge, who has the itch, who has the want and the willingness to go over and beyond? Can they add more talents to them as they get experience in QA and uh, start their journey in IT? Is there more to grab onto? Is there more to grow into?
So, I think when you get into the software development world, because IT is a big term. The area that you're getting is software development.
Mhm.
And once you get your foot in that door, the possibilities are limitless. Because now you can understand how the environment is,
Sure,
what the roles are, what the expectations are,
sure.
and you can literally choose. Hey, do I want to be going to the managerial area? Do I want to go into the more technical area?
Or the training aspect.
Or the coaching and consulting aspect of it, right?
Mhm.
Those possibilities are all laid out for you, and it's up to you where you want to go. Because when I first did it, it was automation, right? And then I'm like, hey, let me, I want to do business analysis. I want to do project management. I want to do that, and that's the direction I went to. But if you want, you go into the development of it. You go into the software, the architect role.
Mhm.
But you can literally choose because again, IT isn't written in stone, right? Nothing's laid out as facts today. Everything varies. everything changes, and because it does, you can always adapt to something different as you go into your career.
Now, a lot of people, including myself, till the time I met you and have some other friends in the IT industry, I really used to think IT is rocket science. Right? That you got to be a scientist to be able to do this. There's a because I was somebody who used to run away from mathematics in my school. By the way, in my 10th standard, I failed in mathematics. I had 30 marks out of 100, and 33 was passing. And I was told you might get revaluation, but I didn't. I was happy because I was an ICSE product. So in ICS, you're allowed to fail in one subject but English. And in English, I had 84. So I have my glitches with mathematics, and that came in the form of integrals. Those little S's that you make, little snails. That never worked out for me. So I really used to think that IT is a mumble jumble. Like it's oh my god, I've got to climb Mount Everest or something like that. Is it really that, or is it just putting your mind to
So
logical
that's the
learning?
key word right there, right? So it's not mathematical or calculations,
And
but it's analysis, right? Are you the person who is patient? Are you the person who can think outside the box? Are you the person who's going to spend time with something and yeah, want to learn new things, not only by self-learning, by also using the resources around you, which is people,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So are you going to do that analysis work to break something apart and put it back together, right?
Yeah.
So it's more like puzzle pieces.
So it's more
Right.
like in the layman of terms, right? If I was to say that we'll give you an engine, right? Not literally, but just for you guys to understand what ID would be. If I was to learn from you today, and I might be wrong, I might be right, just an overthrow for you guys.
We'll figure it out right now.
But let's say if there's an engine, you'll unlock it, break it down piece by piece, and if I'm learning the process, I'll see each and every nut getting unbolted, and it falls apart, and then you put that together.
Yep.
That's what a coursework would look like.
Yeah, 100%.
So there are opportunities for me where I can actually get the system broken down, build up again, broken down again, build up again, broken down again, build up again, till the time I'm perfect.
Until it gets in your head. So it's just like this, in the 20th century,
That
we
makes
built
things
cars,
easier.
right? In the 20th century, we used to make cars in America.
Uh-huh.
In the 21st century, we're making software,
Uh-huh.
right? In the 20th century, when we make car, we get a head mechanic, and he was the one, or she, back then,
Pass on the
he,
knowledge.
unfortunately, would show you, hey, this is
This is
how
how
the
you do
engine works and how to put this thing together, right? So the same exact thing happens here. This is not a place where you come in and you have to figure it out. It's already been figured out. You just
So
have to look at your head software advisor
so
and follow their
here's
instructions.
the basics for you guys, okay? Because I'm not from the field of IT, but what I've learned today, which I sort of knew, but it's good to get educated with the people that are in the field, that if you're worried about it being, oh my God, I have to study so much, I have to do, इतना काम करना पड़ेगा, मोनू भाई. You have to understand the system. Once a doctor is made, a doctor is made, right? He knows his expertise and will make you an expert in that one field that we think you're capable of and suitable of. Of course, you can change your mind as you go through the process, but that's what I learned from TechFios and sitting with Nam. Now, Baz,
So before you continue, I just want to bring it up. You said the word you have to study a lot. You don't have to study a lot. The key word is, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but the key
Learn
word
a
is you have to practice a lot.
practice.
Yeah.
There was a time. I'm going to change the topic to a very basic thing that I had a chacha. Do you guys know what a chacha is?
Yeah. Uncle, right?
So my father's younger brother, he could whistle quite loud without using his fingers. A lot of people use their fingers to whistle, and it'd be loud. Like people can. There's a singing whistle, which is but then there's a difference, right? So this difference was something that I was keen on learning, and I couldn't get what my chacha would do to make such a loud whistle. And just seeing him around me in every event, he would be, and I'd be like, how the heck does he do it, right? So I would always keep practicing it. I'll just keep it, and there'll be funny sounds and there'll be weird sounds, and you know when I learned the first time my actual whistle blew, bro, I was actually at a utensil store with my parents at the age of 6 or 7, and we were just shopping around the store. There's too many utensils, and I'm there, and suddenly it goes, and I got shocked myself. What the heck just happened? Was it me? I looked around. I was like, yeah, it was me. I tried again. Then again. Now it's here, right? Why? Because practice. So if I can get something which was unimaginable for me, be that the basics of thing, right? It's what you put your mind to. It's what you put your heart to. Be that any basic skill set. If you play any game, cricket, badminton, tennis, maybe you're good at snooker, maybe you're good at pool, maybe you like to swim. You were never born with that talent, were we? Maybe we were. We just never shaped it enough. And if I tell you today that all you have to do, let's say if you like cricket and you call yourself a good batsman, and if I tell you from today on, right, all of your bills are paid, your expenses are taken care of, and you're getting trained under Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli, I think in a year, if you have the age, the stamina, the right attitude, you might become a cricketer. Because all you're doing for that time is cricket. Rest, I've taken care of it, right? So in life, if you put your mind to something, if that is the goal set for you, and that is all you do, I think success should come and meet you and greet you and say, "What's up, dude?" Even give you a hug. You never know. Like this coffee, man. I love this coffee. TechFios coffee. You might see a brand tomorrow in the market.
I got a
TechFios
question
coffee.
for Baz. Well, it's called Original Donut Shop.
Oh man. That's what's up. So if you want coffee next time, we're endorsing the brand. Tell them, okay? Donut shop. But a question for Baz, right? Young guy, an entrepreneur, somebody who's been in many fields throughout his life. I'm going to ask you if you knew IT earlier, right? If you knew IT earlier, would you bite it?
To be honest, I would, because I have seen many people's life changes. The IT concept kind of took off on the East Coast mainly around 15 years ago.
Yep.
15 years ago, Virginia, New York, and I had friends that were driving taxi and buying fancy cars, driving taxi, and then you know, the IT world just started booming. They started taking these classes, and everyone's life changed.
Mm.
They were making 110, 120, $130,000 a year.
Mm.
And anybody can do it. People are a lot of our people, Bangladeshi, Indian, they're scared to make that first step. But don't be scared. Just make that first step. Put your hope or put your trust in the school and see where they can take you. I have seen so many people's life change that even came from Bangladesh 3, 4 years ago. So yeah, this the IT world is booming right now. It's gonna be booming for the next few years. It's not me though. I'm more of a sales and customer service guy. But yeah, definitely for other people that want to make money, that want to see a change in their life, IT is the way to go. For sure.
You're driving a Jaguar, and I don't want to ask you why. How? That's a different story. I'll leave that for questions later.
Yeah.
But I have Chirag with me here now. Me and Chirag go a long way back. We have a lot of common friends from school. We're from the same city, Chandigarh, back home in India. But we met here, and he's been in the IT field. He works as a Scrum Master, and I think he'll be a good testimony for you as well to learn about his journey in IT. So, Chirag, if I was to ask you simply, when did you start and where are you today? How would you sum that up?
So I came in as an international student to US, and that was around like 11 years back.
Mm.
So I've done my masters. I've been on OPT, the work permit, for work experience, and then I've gone through H1B and until I got my permanent residency. So I've gone through the whole process.
Mm.
And going through that process, there was a lot of learning, especially between having job knowledge and a skill set, and then also knowing how to sell yourself. These both things are really important. People have a balance of both. Some might be good at 30% of sales, but 70% of knowledge. Some might be 50-50. But it's really important just to be in United States. The thing that I understood was you have to have you have to do the real talk.
No,
What is it that you're giving, and uh, like what are you gonna do for them to the for the business? Yeah.
you
So
know,
I think the point he brings up, right?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
said it. He said it. His key word is at the end of the day, especially in America, right? Because where we come from, the Southeast Asia area, it's that the idea of hard work and merit and putting effort,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
in America, it's not that. And his key word was how you sell yourself.
Exactly.
Because at the end of the day, the thing
Exactly.
that's going to get you a job isn't what you can do, but it's what you can convince somebody what you can do.
And you know what? And TechFios comes in there where they actually groom you as well. It's not just about learning something. I could be a great writer, but if I don't know how to tell my story, um, my writing wouldn't make sense. So, the grooming, because you have mentors around you who've done what you are wanting to do. And if they are there to give you the insights, give you the learning, pretty much hold your finger as you cross the road. And if that is available, I think that's a very good key point. Now, coming back to Chirag and his journey, a lot of people get OPT here as soon as they graduate in masters or their bachelors, um, and ton of the times, um, they are graduating either in engineering or accounting or biomedical services. But I might be right when I say that the most amount of chances or the the most assurance that you have forwarding your stay in the United States as an easier course compared to the other fields would be IT. And the reason is the demand is too high. And if you are able to become or learn an IT course, now remember, even if you're not from the IT background, you've done your bachelor's in engineering, you've done your bachelor's in accounting, you can still learn IT.
Yeah,
You can still,
and I'll vouch for that. We have seen people that are 50 years old get jobs here, take our class, and they get a job. And they have no IT background. So
now here's one thing which I don't want you guys to do. And that's where I'm going to ask the question to Chirag. So, Chirag, as soon as you graduated, you came on OPT.
Yeah.
How long before you got a job or you started training for IT as soon as you got on your OPT?
So my story is a little bit slightly different in a way that when I started on OPT right after my masters, I was able to like get in get into a job that didn't really require. It was kind of IT, it was testing, but not like the automation testing or the full fledged.
But it was a door into the
Yeah,
IT
yeah,
industry.
it was more inclined towards
Now,
electrical engineering and
now,
stuff. Yeah.
the reason I want to make it simple is
Yeah.
I'm asking that as soon as you got on the OPT, which is you get a 1 year period,
At my in those days it was like
And-
29 months.
and
So,
today is
yeah.
what, 1 year?
36,
2 years?
is it
24
36?
months?
2 years? Okay.
Okay, so now you have 24 months from the time you graduate. Okay, were you able to find a job as soon as you graduated? Your OPT started 29 months. How many months before you got the job? So how many months you expired out of your OPT before you got the job?
I really I did not get to know a place like
TechFios.
TechFios.
Yep.
If I had that, if I was able to,
Move right away.
yeah, because and this is sometime at in those days it was more like a word of mouth. If I knew a place like TechFios, the first thing I would have done because OPT allows you to be do some training, and then when you're on H1B, you really have to be working all the time. There's no bandwidth of not having a job. So I actually started with a job that it wasn't hardcore IT or something, but it was QA inclined towards energy and utilities. So being there and being kind of stagnant for a while, then I looked for a company to train. But just getting to know you guys and looking at your classrooms and office and your setup and the conversation we had of what's being offered. I wish I could have got that kind of opportunity, and then I tried really hard, and I had to really struggle to
And
go into the next
and
step.
you know, this is the point I wanted to make out that if you're an OPT, you don't want to waste that time. That time is 24 months. And that time is the time that's going to make your future in the United States. So, if you are about to graduate, you know people that are about to graduate, you know that you want to get into the IT field, get with TechFios. Start early, because if you are going to waste that timeline that you have, oh, I 12 महीने पड़े हैं, 24 महीने पड़े हैं, आराम से कर लेंगे, पराठे खा के सो,
Yeah.
that's not going to work out. And you know what? Time doesn't come back. What you're gonna lose this night. This conversation is gone. It's gonna go. It's never gonna come back.
And please put your faith in the school that you're joining and just believe the process and just do what you have to do. Hard work is what you need to do. That's it.
Um, Again, I wouldn't say hard. I would say smart, the willingness, and like we just told you, there is a unit. It has 100 nuts and bolts, some parts. Break it down, build it. Break it down, build it. Break it down, build it. I think even if I don't go to school, I'm blessed to be in the best of school. My parents took care of me. But even if I didn't go to school, although you need to know your languages, you need to know everything else. If I was given a unit and I was given time to unbreak it and put it back again with the help, like it's not that I need to earn wisdom points to get guesses and things like that. There are people that will guide you. If you lose, oh, I'm stuck at level 2. How do I go beyond? There are people who guide you to go beyond, and then you keep doing that again and again, and that's IT for you. And I think it's been a good conversation, Nadir. Thank you very much for the time once again. Sahil, I wish you the best of luck. Young entrepreneurs are always appreciated.
Thank you, Marvin.
Baz, it's a pleasure. Chirag, wonderful talking, and I hope you guys could learn a bit or two from our conversation today, and we're just going to have a good time. And I hope that you guys make a wise decision, be that TechFios or be that anybody else out there. Just got to make sure that you're doing the right thing. That's what we are here for.
See you guys next week.
See you guys next week.
Adios.
So good.
Oh, it's-